this presence. We feel it when we walk in the door. This presence of love and joy and peace. The presence of the unseen. You can call that unseen anything you want. Divine, spirit, God, whatever. But that presence not only floats around in the air, it's in every one of us. We are the presence. Janet and Kelly, Sabrina, we're the presence that exists in this place, in this world. You know how empowering that is when you stop and think about it? Many of you remember Vivian, when she walked into the room, she had this grace about her that you felt. You just felt it. Well, every one of us has a grace, a presence about us. And that reflects how we think and how we act and how we treat each other. And when we walk into the room, that presence, you bring it with you. And when you bring love into the room, it's always there when you get there. If you bring acceptance and peace and joy and smiles and compassion, if you bring that as part of your presence into the room, it's always there. And what a lovely, I don't know what to call it, a thing what a lovely aura to share with any room or place that you are. We are the presence, and so it is.
Patrick suggested since I was going away for a couple of weeks, I might miss giving a mini message, so he asked me to give one today, in addition to the piano.
You can handle it.
I think I can handle it. Most of you were here last Sunday, I believe, not all, but most of you, when you all honored me with a rendition of Happy Birthday on the day that was actually my 84th birthday. I just subtracted 20 years. I love that. Well, I felt myself being moved that day, not only by your terrific rendition of Happy Birthday, but by the message that I heard from Natalie Dole during the practice portion of that service. If you weren't here last Sunday, or you were here and you kind of forgot what it was that she had to say, you might want to view it again on youtube.com, where we have our Sunday services always on YouTube live and then afterwards as well. Because you might want to view that entire service, because it was very well done by not just Natalie, but Patrick in his message and Janet Tonelli in her mini message. There were some good words that we could all relate to and learn from. Well, during the practice, Natalie asked us to place our hands over our hearts and to see our soul there. And to picture our soul as a flame. I love that picture. Picture the soul as a flame in your heart chakra area. And then we could expand through our inhaling and our exhaling, and then join in with the flames of those around us, so that we can further enhance the we consciousness. When I heard those words, I was brought to the realization that our soul, our flame within, is like the pilot light that most every one of us have, at least one in our households. It's like the pilot light on my home water heater, the pilot light on my gas furnace, and the pilot light on the huge furnace that resides in the garage, that when it lights the furnace, it blows warmth throughout the entire house when called upon. And when we call upon that furnace, it immediately expands the heating capacity that that pilot light had, and we all are welcoming the additional warmth. Today, not so much, but most every cool morning, yes. I feel certain that when we ignite and expand our own pilot light, our soul, if you will, that is how we are able to actually take what we have here and spread it through a wider community, a larger community, and perhaps even the universe itself, especially when we do it together. When Patrick asked me to do the mini message today, I set aside some time on Friday to actually work on it and come up with an idea and figure out what to do. But I was led to where I wanted to go when I read the Friday morning Press Democrat and I heard what our President Biden had to say about the importance of what's coming up in November. He said that that could be a battle for the soul of America. So I heard the word soul, and while I don't think we need to really battle, I agree with the president that we need to do something special. We need to put extra energy and effort into that November 8th election because it's so important for the soul of America, in my opinion too. So I urge everyone here to follow your hearts and souls and spread the word about the importance of being involved in that midterm election and cast your votes as your heart, your mind, and your soul dictate to you. Each of us gets to decide our own. Because I agree with one more point made by many times by Patrick in previous talks and by Natalie last Sunday. Nothing is more powerful than us acting together. Namaste.
Thank you, Wayne. It's amazing how that "we" word just keeps, it's like the rudder for everything in life. Thank you. And good morning, everyone. Good morning. And I so appreciate each one of you being here this morning, because if I'd had to gone to each one of your houses individually, it'd taken the whole week at least, I'm sure. It's just so thank you for being here. We have Thursday morning group will be, what, a week from Thursday? The 15th. Okay, that's our Thursday morning. Let me get this right. Spiritual book study. Right. Okay, 10 a.m. in the hall. Next Sunday will be our all music service. And we're still putting it together. I don't know for sure who's coming. We've invited a lot of people to participate, and there's going to be a couple surprises, I think, but it's well worth. We haven't had one in a long time since before COVID, and it's certainly time we have another all music service. So that might be a nice thing to come to, and immediately following the service, we're all going to make the challenging commute to 42 Charles Street so that at 1 o'clock we can get together in their clubhouse and have a celebration of life for Bonnie's son, Guy. So, and that's a potluck thing, right, Bonnie? Yeah, okay, and it starts like 1 o'clock or whenever we all get over there and get set up. Maybe 1:30, okay. Okay, get over there, get set up. It'll just be, we probably won't even have coffee here. We can go over there and have coffee and help get set things up and set up food and chairs and do that kind of thing. So that's next Sunday, big day. The following Saturday, the 17th, right across the street, they're having a tour, 10 a.m., a tour of Farmster. And it's, if you want to check it out, it's farmster.org, but it's on the Paletti Ranch right across the street with all the animals. They're going to have like an open house, walk through. Natalie and Dave are going to take part in that, and I'm sure some other people. And Mike, you were talking to us about, is it the last Saturday of the month? Wow, a walking tour of of the city?
So it was yesterday.
Oh, it was yesterday, okay,
Yeah, there's another one the first Saturday in October.
okay,
And then we couldn't make it yesterday, and the lady emailed us and said like she could potentially do like a special tour for us if we got a group together.
Uh-huh.
So I think maybe like mid or late October, like we could try to get like some people from the church if they're interested on a Saturday morning. So,
okay,
so.
all right. I'm sorry that slipped, I remember you announced it and then it got mixed up in the quagmire that I call my brain, so. Oh, next Sunday too, we're having a board meeting, early in the morning, 9 o'clock. Next Sunday's gonna be a big Sunday, just come plan on spending all day. What's that?
Healing Circle?
Oh, the Healing Circle on 7:30 Sunday evening. I don't think it's gonna meet today, but it will continue next week. Any other announcements? Oh, I'll give a couple, yes, Mike.
I just wanted to take a minute. I didn't tell Joe about this, but I just want to say thank you to you, Patrick, and to Wayne, and to all of you here in this community. You may remember, but it was already 52 Sundays ago that my wife Joelle and I got married right here.
Wow.
So tomorrow is our 1-year anniversary. We're gonna be, so we're going away for a few weeks, but we just wanted to say thank you, and we're certainly gonna take all of you with us on our travels and be reminiscing about that day, I'm sure, a lot. So just thank you.
Where are you going?
We're going to the Bahamas, to Puerto Rico, to Miami. So.
Yeah, we'd be happy to join you, just let us know. Well, happy anniversary. And I have to tell you something. I've done a lot of weddings over the last 20 years. Mike and Joelle got married during a church service. We had a family reception out in the grass, and that was the coolest, specialist, I think, most connected wedding I have ever participated in. So it was just really special because there again, it was all of us as a family celebrating their commitment and love for each other.
And don't forget to mention her peacock dress. Oh, her beautiful dress.
That's right. That's right. And one more announcement. Today, we aren't going to sing happy birthday now, because if we start doing for everybody, well, that's all we'll get done. But we'll sing happy birthday to a special person, and there'll be chocolate cake right after church in the hall. So come by and don't miss an opportunity for cake and to sing happy birthday. What's that? It's actually Sabrina's birthday on Wednesday, so we're going to celebrate next. All right, this could go on for hours. Any more announcements? If not, then let's stand up and sing How Could Anyone Ever Tell You You Were Anything Less Than Beautiful and Wonderful. If you're here for the very first time, please do not be frightened. But this is the time in our service when we greet each other in the traditional Church of the Oaks fashion, or in whichever way you might be comfortable.
I told my doctor next
Hello out there.
they're all deniers. Maybe the cats.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Good, good to see you guys today. Oh, wow, you're going to miss the cabaret. You're going to miss the music. Service. Go to the Church of the Oaks. And watch it, 'cause it's coming. Where's that? That is. Get every giggle you can. That's a
We'll see you mid-October.
great. Wayne has this beautiful orchestral signification of the end of fellowship. Lay it on us, maestro.
We haven't done that yet.
No. I was going to have you do your horse track. There you go. There you go. Thank you, Wayne. We just greeted each other, shook hands, hugged, exchanged salutations and looks, let our energies mix and combine with each other. We shared ourselves with our community. We don't pass a basket here. We have a basket in the back. But anything that you share should be your choice to share. Just like it's your choice when you walk up to someone to hug them or shake out your hand or glare at them. That's your choice. And your abundance in all things, in your empathy, your compassion, your acceptance, your love, they should be your conscious choice as you share them, to the point where it just becomes your lifestyle habit. So anyway, let's read together our affirmation of abundance for this month. When we choose to give, if our gift is inspired by gratitude rather than obligation, we are manifesting the power of the divine and the spiritual principle of abundance. May we ponder that wisdom, sir. Thank you, Wayne. As we prepare ourselves for our time of meditation, let's sing together Only Believe, number 152 in the wings.
It's really amazing how, without any effort on our parts, we all seem to come up with the same message. You mentioning energy coming together, and you mentioned energy coming together. Mentioned energy coming together. And a couple of years ago, Wayne, to welcome a new year, passed out candles where the first candle lit the next candle, which in turn lit the next candle, and so on, until all of our candles were burning bright and glowing in the church. Then we sang, "One lights, another lights, another lights another," using this imagery of individual flames becoming a larger shared light. In this meditation, I'd like you to think of each inhaling breath as fanning the flame of your peaceful true self, while sharing this light with others on the exhaled breath. So clear your thoughts as best you can. Settle in, get comfortable. Now inhale a slow, deep breath, feeding that peaceful flame within you. With each breath, your internal light gets brighter. With each breath, there is a peaceful calm. On the exhale, let your light surround you and others, eventually to find just the right person or situation somewhere in the world. So let's begin. As you inhale, see your internal light growing, and as you exhale, share your light with others. As we ready ourselves to end the meditation, surround yourself with protective love and light, and remember that one light lights another, lights another.
Thank you, Kelly and Wayne. I'm not going to start my message right away. I mentioned Vivian a little bit ago. Vivian was minister here for about 20 years, and she stopped being our full-time minister about 6 years ago. And Vivian is 96 years old. She has dementia severely. I talk to her every night at 9 o'clock, unless she leaves her phone off the hook, and which happens, but almost every night at 9 o'clock. And she has mixed up memories of Church of the Oaks. They're very fond, but they're kind of mixed up a little bit. So I always try to share something that was really cool that she did at one point or another time, and as well as I remind her that she wrote so many inquiring mind emails, and I keep recycling those, her wisdom and her she just got it, and she had a way of putting it, and I will use those forever because the wisdom is just profound. And I read the ones that she does to her as every week. And people respond, and if you see something, you'll call her. Her number is 538-9437, and it's in the church directory. Call her and tell her you just read her email and you thought it was really cool. It means so much. And when people email a response to that Inquiring Minds email every Friday morning, I call her up and read the email to her about what people responded. It just makes her day. And as I was sitting here thinking, Kelly was talking, and I remembered that she always started almost every talk with a bit of humorous stories. She was different than me, and she had to work at coming up with a story that was humorous, but she started every one of her messages with a little bit of humor for 20 years, I think. So I'm going to, in her honor, I'm going to do that today. And I just remembered to I forgot to announce before I start that. Could we have a moment of silence? Madeline's daughter-in-law, Betty, passed. And could we have a moment of light for her family? Just take a moment and just share your light and your energy. And so it is. Thank you. Okay, Vivian always started a cute story. I've got a cute story for you. My granddaughter is 20 now. She's in her second year of college at Kent State. She's been having a boyfriend here lately. I was talking to her the other day. She was, I finally had to break up with my boyfriend. I said, you did? What happened? She said, well, we were out the other night, and we were in the car. We were kind of smooching and making out a little bit, and he gave me this little box. He said, I want you to have this. This is a bracelet that belonged to my grandmother. And he opened up the box and put it on my wrist. And we were just kind of really romantic and everything. And it was getting late and I had to work. So I went home. In the morning, I looked at his grandmother's bracelet. and I saw there was writing. And I looked at it and it said, "Do not resuscitate." So I gave him back his family heirloom and told him we were history. So, anyways. That could very well have been absolutely true. You know, we hear all the news constantly about all the chaos and the suffering and the cruelty and the psychosis that runs rampant about our globe. And we get kind of pretty sick of it. And then, out of the blue, and for no apparent reason, we notice there are people doing some fantastic, loving things. We just see somebody walking up to somebody on the street and just having a conversation. "How are you today? You want a cup of coffee? Let's go have a cup of coffee." And just some uplifting acts of love and kindness and compassion and empathy. And we see this, and it's like, whoa. Maybe there is some hope for this world. You know, maybe, who knows what the future brings? Well, our future, my friends, is us. We are our future. We individually, collectively, we as a consciousness. I think that we have so much, we have proven to ourselves right here in this congregation that we can accomplish some great things that individually would have been just way beyond our possibility. But together, we have made great changes in our community. And each one of those great changes in our community actually affected us as well, because we are part of this community. And every time you do something, go out of your little comfort zone and go somewhere that you've never been before, but it seems like the thing to do, and you show some kindness or some compassion or offer some help. That little pilot light inside that Wayne was talking about, it gets brighter, and it actually, when you open your mouth and your eyes, that light goes out into the world and lights up some pretty dark places sometimes. We hear so much about, I'm trying to think of a way to segue into this, and I can't. I've thought about it all. I don't know. Their leadership, I think, is so important in our world today. And I heard somebody say one time that great leaders don't actually do anything that's great, but they inspire and encourage regular folks to do some really great things. And I pondered this and I thought, wow, I can think of two great leaders in our world today. One of them, I've been studying this guy. His name is Jorge Bergoglio. And he's an amazing guy. Turns out, I think he's as smarter than me even. And I think he's a great leader. In fact, I think he's kind of like maybe the Gandhi of the 21st century. You have no idea who I'm talking about. He got a new name about 9 years ago. His name, people call him Pope Francis now. And I've studied this guy. And he has his doctrine of Catholicism that he has chosen to be his doctrine of faith. But that man has not only saved the Catholic Church, but shook it up way much. 8 years ago, being the Pope for only about a year, he said for the whole world to hear, concerning the LGBTQ community. He said, first of all, parents, don't chastise your children for their choice of lifestyle, whatever it might be. And secondly, I'm just a man. Who am I to judge who someone chooses to love and live with? That blew the Catholic Church, really shook them up. And this is the first guy in like 1,200 years that's done it, except for one fellow, Pope John Paul I. He was elected and he started shaking up all very liberal, shaking up he was only Pope for 35 days and then he mysteriously died in his sleep one night. They said maybe it was a heart attack, maybe been poisoned, who knows. But this man has done so much in changing the hope of people in his church to be global instead of all focused on Rome. He went to Chile right after he became Pope. He went down to Chile. There were like 55 registered complaints of molestation against the clergy. And he went down there and he listened to these people. He said, hey, I think you're telling lies so you can get money out of the Catholic Church. And he came back to Rome, but he sent an investigator down. And at the end of the investigation, he found out all of those complaints and thousands of more throughout the world were true. He went back to Chile and apologized to the entire country for believing something that was false and apologized for that horrendous behavior. And then he went back to Rome and then he flew those 55 complainants to Rome and sat with them and apologized and talked. Here last month he flew to Canada to apologize to the native people in Canada for the horrendous wrong things that the Catholic Church did in establishing these residential schools where they stripped the Native Americans out of their homes, their tribes, their culture, and beat them and raped them and abused them and brainwashed them into thinking other than what they were brought up to believe in their own heritage, in their own society. And he apologized and had talks. And the reason he has done these apologies is when you apologize to someone and then talk, it creates an atmosphere, creates a genre for forgiveness to take place. And when that forgiveness happens, forgiving yourself, forgiving your church for the horrendous things it did, and the people forgiving these acts, then you can have this healing take place and you can actually go forward. And there are so many people who need healing because they foster these thoughts of being victimized or anger or frustration. And if we can offer these apologies and then sit down, and when someone apologizes, sit down and talk and allow that forgiveness to happen and allow healing to happen, we can go forward. And maybe that's our future. I talked about two great leaders. The Pope, he's got 1,200,000,000 followers that choose to call the Pope their spiritual leader. They're not in a country where some dictator, you either like me or go to jail. These are people throughout the world. The other great leader, I've got about 40. But I think that both of us we have proven that we can get people, encourage people to do some great things. And I'm looking at people right here this morning that have done great things. Our future, my friends, is based on our decisions, our words, our thoughts, and our actions. And we can have a future tomorrow of chaos and suffering if that's where we think, where we look, where we give our attention, and where we put our efforts. Or we can have a future of forgiveness and understanding and healing and compassion and love and caring for each other and honesty. It's up to us. The Pope's working really hard to create that kind of future for the world. He's jumping up and down on people's chests to get them to stop abusing and raping our planet and our citizens throughout the world. And I think maybe there's a lot of hope in that type of philosophy. I'm not ringing the bell for the Roman Catholic Church. I'm ringing the bell for people who don't put themselves on a pedestal, that have the we consciousness. I watched him do a talk here a while back. He said, hope, the hope in this world is you and you and you when you begin to think of yourselves as we or us. That is the hope. That together we can bring about less suffering. We can bring about more understanding and caring for each other. It's up to us. And that man, he's followed my example. He wears a $9.99 Casio plastic band wristwatch. I wear an $8.97 genuine imitation leather band. I can't read the title because it's in some foreign language. Walmart's finest for $10. Yeah, my friends, we have such opportunity. There's not a day goes by that we don't have offered to us an opportunity to forgive, to listen to someone who needs to get something off their chest, who could use a little advice if they ask for it, someone who could use a hug, someone who could use a smile. There's a lot of ugly in this world. And we have within us the little pilot light. All we have to do is push the button, and a big flame of light and healing warmth can just spew from us. Every one of us has that. We also can go the other route. It takes our conscious intention. And that's our doctrine. If we had a doctrine, it would be to be aware of what we're thinking, saying, and doing. And to question, does that line up with the harmony, with the grace, with that little pilot light of love and light that's inside of us? Or is it part of the chaos and then the suffering? That awareness of what we're thinking, saying, and doing. And how important that is, because what we think and say and do That, my friends, is our future. And I'm so excited. I see these young people coming together and working to improve the conditions in our environment, to improve the conditions and the safety in our schools, in our homes, in our communities. And I don't think our young people have ever been en masse as active for the right reasons, based on a we consciousness rather than a me consciousness. And that, to me, that gives me great hope. And knowing that I'm in the same league as the Pope gives me great purpose in life. My friends, let's be nicer to each other. Let's love each other. I catch myself all the time being cranky. We all are. We all get to that point. But be aware. Your thoughts, your actions, your words, along with mine, our thoughts, our words, our actions, are creating the future for this entire planet. No pressure. Let's think of it as privilege, because I believe that's truly what it is, a sacred privilege to be co-creators of the future of our world. And what a magnificent world it is. It's a wonderful world. There are so many wonderful things going on. Mike and Joel are going to places that are gorgeous. There's so much beauty and tranquility, just like in every soul, there's beauty and tranquility. Let's stand up and sing What a Wonderful World. And think about these words as we say them and sing them. Oh, what to be thankful for, the gratitude to be part of this beautiful, wonderful, loving world that we're in. And so it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.